At the end of the day, parents just want to make sure their kids are safe. I'm Dr. Cameo Carter. I'm a board certified pediatrician and mom of three. Thanks for joining me again. Today, I want to talk about a question that I get often about vaccinations and some common components of things that are in them. We know about the antigen, the thing that we have in there that we're trying to make sure we're protecting against if we face that illness out in the wild. But there's lots of other things in vaccinations too, a lot of other components that are there for reasons and really good reasons and have been studied a lot. And one of the ingredients that I get asked a lot about is aluminum. And I had another question today about it, so I thought it would be a good thing to cover. So, why is aluminum in there? Is it a neurotoxin? Those are a lot of the questions. Why is it even in there? So aluminum acts as an adjuvant. An adjuvant is something that helps our body recognize and respond to the vaccine more strongly. And that helps so that we don't have to have as many doses and so that our protection lasts longer. It has been used as an adjuvant in vaccinations for 70 years, for more than 70 years. And it's one of the most extensively studied ingredients that we have. Without it, some vaccines would require more doses. They wouldn't work as effectively. And so it's a really important component. How much is in there? It's really, really tiny. It's measured in micrograms. And what micrograms are is a millionth of a gram. Very, very small. A single vaccine dose contains between 125 and 850 micrograms of aluminum. And that may seem like a pretty broad range, but this is all, again, on a very, very tiny scale. So how does that compare to the things that we face in our everyday lives? Aluminum is a naturally occurring element. It is in the air that we breathe, it is in water, it is in food, it's even in breast milk and formula. First 6 months, a baby is going to be exposed to lots of aluminum naturally. For example, a breastfed baby is going to be exposed to about 7 milligrams. A formula-fed baby is going to be exposed to between 30 and 40 milligrams. Now, all of the vaccines combined during that period is only about 4 milligrams. So babies actually get much more aluminum naturally from eating and drinking than from any vaccines. And I didn't even go over all the aluminum that's in like the foods that we eat and things like that. When I'm going over this with parents, a question I get is like, well, okay, so you're giving me examples of things that are being ingested. Isn't this different than injected? And it's an important question. There's different mechanisms that are accounting for that. So the body does absorb things differently when it's injected versus ingested, but the total amount is still very, very small. And because it's being processed differently, doesn't mean that it's harmful. The aluminum used in vaccines dissolves slowly, giving the immune system time to respond to it. That's one of the reasons that we want it there. And studies show that even when injected, the amount is well below any level that could be harmful. So the systems that help clean it out, including the kidneys, efficiently remove any small residual amounts that are left over. A question I get related to this is looking at the different brands of vaccinations. And some vaccine brands contain slightly different aluminum amounts, but again, the levels are measured in micrograms. So that's far too small to affect safety. All vaccines go through the same rigorous standards before approval. And so these things, again, have been looked at. Addressing the concern about neurotoxin, I think, is important. It's true that aluminum at very, very high levels can be toxic, just like oxygen at too high levels can be toxic. Iron certainly can be. Even water at too high levels can be toxic. But what matters is the dose, and the amount in vaccines is thousands of times lower than any harmful level. Decades of research have found no link between vaccine aluminum and any neurodevelopmental problems, and that's us looking at this over and over again, and showing it over and over again. So in the big picture, when asked about it, we have to have things in the vaccinations that helps make sure the vaccines are safe and that they're doing for us what we need them to do. There's other components that are keeping vaccinations from growing bacteria or mold. This component is important, again, for making sure that the body recognizes it as something that it needs to mount and memorize a defense against. It helps it work better. And because it's being used, kids don't need as many vaccines. If this wasn't in there, the amount of doses would have to be more. And kids wouldn't be as safe from these devastating diseases that we're protecting them against. It's natural to pause when you're hearing about what things are inside of medications and injections and different treatments. It's good to ask those questions. But the science here is really strong, extensive, very reassuring. So I'm not concerned about parents asking these questions. I think it's really important that you understand what you're doing, why you're doing, how you're doing, and what the effects can be. I think it makes you a caring, thoughtful parent to ask those questions. So at the end of the day, the concern about aluminum really comes from a good place, wanting to protect your child. But the science tells us this is small amount is safe, purposeful, and it really helps the vaccines do their job. You're not wrong to ask. I hope this helps you feel in a more confident spot when you're making decisions for your family about this. And as always ask your pediatrician for additional questions or concerns that you have.